Hi, I'm Aisha Howard. A year ago, 11 Alive launched our Closer Look series aimed at going beyond the headline to look at local issues affecting people in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. This series focuses on the why and whether proposed solutions are living up to their promises. In this streaming special, we're looking back at some of our recent reporting, starting with an ambitious effort to break the cycle of violence in Atlanta.
Every day, I would see patients come in through our trauma bays injured by violence, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of the solution. I wanted to figure out what was bringing them here in the first place and prevent them from coming back.
For trauma surgeon Dr. Randy Smith, treating wounds wasn't enough. She wanted to stop the bleeding at its source.
In lots of places, people are just patched up and sent right back out into the neighborhoods and the circumstances that led to the injuries in the first place.
It's what led her to help launch the Interrupting Violence in Youth and Young Adults program with Grady Health System in January 2023. It provides critical support for gun violence victims ages 14 to 34. When a victim of violence arrives at the hospital, Ivy staff not only offer medical support, but serve as a source of trust, guidance, and resources.
We are understanding the root causes. We're focused on addressing those social drivers of health that impact how patients do when they leave the hospital.
In just over 2 years, Ivy worked with more than 650 participants and their families, providing food, housing assistance, and mental health support. And the program is getting results.
We have really interrupted that cycle of violence that I spoke about, where less than 3% of our participants have come back into the hospital with a violent injury.
Violence intervention specialists like Nkosi Cave are the pulse of the program. He says he understands the importance of meeting patients where they are.
When we meet people at the bedside, we kind of see a reflection of ourselves and our communities and our patients, right? So a lot of times when we're meeting people, we're seeing people that we might have known in the community.
For Nkosi, this work is deeply personal. Growing up in Atlanta, he says he always knew he wanted to serve his community. Now he gets to put his master's degree in public health to work in a meaningful way.
We come from the same communities as a lot of these people, so we talk the same language, right? So a lot of times it's really just about getting to know that person and really sitting down and listening. A lot of times when people come in with gunshot wounds, they're stereotyped, but for us, these are just everyday people who are in our community and people who actually need help. And these are actually the voiceless, the people who aren't able to really express their concerns.
For this team, they say it's not just hard work, it's heart work.
Another proposed solution to make our streets safer: more street lights. The city launched the Light Up the Night initiative 4 years ago. Let's take a closer look at what's working, what's still needed, and how much of a difference the lights are making.
It's been 4 years since the city of Atlanta started using light to drive down crime. Now, city leaders and community partners say the results are starting to shine through.
So far, we've installed or converted to LED over 30,000 lights throughout the city. We are targeting our completion of the program this July. We will be at 35,000 lights at that point.
Atlanta Department of Transportation Commissioner Solomon Cavanagh says the city used data to identify where lighting was needed the most. It found the west, south, and southwest side of the city could benefit the most based on crime statistics and the biggest pockets of dark areas.
Has there been a direct correlation between better and more lighting with a reduction in crime?
So we are running those numbers now. Our target was 20% reduction in crime, and obviously the mayor has spoken about the reduction in homicides throughout the city.
People want to feel confident about where they live. How do you think lighting plays a role in that?
So what we found is one of our largest requests through ATL 311 has been lighting requests. What we've come to find is some communities have been quote unquote left out. And if you notice, we're on the south side of Atlanta, you have the decorative lighting. You have a bright white LED.
Georgia Power is partnering with the city for the program. Misty Fernandez says when Light Up the Night started, only about 75% of streetlights worked in the city. Now, 99% do, and the quality matches the quantity.
LED lighting has many benefits, including truer color interpretation, better illumination. Also, one of the neat benefits is that LED lighting is 40% more energy efficient than non-LED lighting.
But for advocates like Jeremiah Jones of Propel ATL, this project is about much more than infrastructure.
It's a matter of life and death. What we found is that over 80% of all pedestrian crashes happen in dark or dimly lit areas.
And the stakes remain high across the metro area.
We just need to see these projects that we voted on actually get completed, and that will also aid in the reduction of pedestrian fatalities in the city of Atlanta, because we don't believe anyone should be killed simply just trying to exist, trying to get to work, trying to get home at nighttime.
The city expects to wrap up installation this summer. Safety was also a chief concern behind a new push to make Atlanta more walkable by adding more sidewalks.
The sidewalk ends here and the danger starts there.
In Atlanta, sidewalks often start with intention,
The ones that we do have aren't ADA compliant.
only to vanish into grass, gravel, or the shoulder of a busy road.
Even the ones that we want, we don't have.
A new study gives Atlanta a walk score of 48 out of 100, putting us in the car-dependent category and making walks to school, work, or the store more of a risk.
This area has a golf course, an elementary school, and a regional park all in the same place, and we simply don't have sidewalks to access any of these things.
Andre Burgeon says he's lived out the data.
I'm born and raised in Southwest Atlanta. I needed to use the sidewalks. There were times when I got off the bus and had to walk in the streets to get to this park to play basketball or baseball.
He serves as the co-chair of the Adams Park Residents Association and has taken his frustration to the city.
What we have, no sidewalks, but a park that we can't access by foot.
Atlanta Department of Transportation says it's ready to respond in a meaningful way through the Moving Atlanta Forward program.
It's really important for us to make sure that we have a full transportation system that accommodates anyone, no matter where you're going, how you need to get there, no matter what your social class is, no matter what your race, gender, all of that.
The plan? Rebuild the basics, starting with sidewalks.
Over the last year and a half, we've built out over 6 miles of new sidewalks. We have a program that will install nearly 4,000 curb ramps over the next 5 years.
These improvements target the city's busiest and most dangerous corridors like Cleveland Avenue and Metropolitan Parkway, where pedestrians and cars compete for space.
So nearly 30 pedestrians are killed every year on Atlanta city streets by traffic-involved crashes.
While downtown near an active sidewalk construction site, we witnessed the need firsthand. ATL DOT says it is working closely with its ADA Advisory Committee.
Thinking about what we design, what we build, and ultimately the services that we provide.
We got to think holistically and not just cars, but people. How do we move them efficiently and in the places that matter the most?
Another major transformation is underway to create a 535-mile trail connecting neighborhoods in Atlanta. Here's a look at where that project stands right now.
It's Atlanta's ambitious effort to connect people through transit, trees, and purpose. The Trails ATL Master Plan envisions 535 miles of trails linking neighborhoods, schools, business districts, and the Beltline.
So our goal is to have 95% of Atlantans within 10 minutes of a high-quality trail, 10-minute walk from their house, 10-minute walk or wheelchair ride of their house.
Phase 1 created 35 miles of new paths and was adopted this summer, costing $252 million. Leaders say the investment will pay off.
I think some of the biggest impacts will be in District 10, 11, and 12, where we're looking to connect, really those disconnected neighborhoods.
It's not just about access for people like Tracy Stevens, founder of the Black Hiking Club. It's personal.
Yeah, for me, just being a hiker, starting back in 2018, I never really saw people who looked like me on the trail.
He says the club's 100 members have discovered hiking opportunities are not equal, but this plan could change that.
If people don't have the necessary transportation to get there, they really can't enjoy it.
Tracy says more trails mean more people finding their peace and their people.
Just hearing somebody say to me, "Thank you for creating this," or "You just don't know how much it means. I finally found my tribe."
The city says trails were the top request in the park's master plan surveys. Now it's delivering.
Community is one aspect, but it's also about health and mental health. And so in a crisis of loneliness and lack of connectivity, trails are a way for people to get out, to be active.
The plan is designed to plug into MARTA and other transit routes, filling gaps where buses no longer go. A 30-year vision to make Atlanta a national model for how cities move with health, equity, and beauty in mind.
Our Closer Look series also frequently shines a light on health access in Georgia. New CDC numbers show women over 40 are now having more babies than teenagers. That is a major change from the past. Let's take a closer look at what's driving the trend.
I became a mother for the first time at 27. I have a 22-year-old son, a grown son. And later in life, I got married at 42 and we had a baby at 44.
Chanel McGowan represents a growing number of women having children later in life. According to the CDC, since 1990, births to moms under 20 dropped by 73%, while women over 40 increased a staggering 193%. But why?
Definitely being married the second time. The first time I wasn't. And I was like, I want to do this and have this experience.
The researchers say a number of factors have led to women having babies later in life, like advances and greater access to fertility treatments, the desire to be more economically stable, and changes in dating behavior. Gynecologist Dr. Sujatha Reddy sees the report as an encouraging outcome for teens, too.
We know that when there's unintended pregnancies early in life, like in the teen years, those women don't reach a high enough economic potential. They're more likely to be on the poverty line. So the fact that we're decreasing teen births, as shown in this study, I think is a really good positive.
Chanel says maturity and stability changed her experience having a child at 44.
I know so much more, but I'm also grounded in who I am.
However, she acknowledges the physical challenges. Before conceiving her daughter naturally, Chanel suffered 3 miscarriages. Dr. Reddy says if women are considering having a child over 40, a healthy body is key.
So optimizing your health, be that medical conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, getting to a healthier weight, all those things will impact fertility and having a less complicated or uncomplicated pregnancy.
And for women over 40 who don't want to have a child later in life, just like teens, you have to take preventative measures.
If you're having periods, there's a chance you can conceive. So for a lot of women who think, oh, I'm not going to get pregnant, I'm 41, be warned, it is quite possible. And that is one of the highest groups of unintended pregnancies are women in their 40s because they think they can't get pregnant.
Chanel's advice for women desiring to become a mom is to not let age be the factor that stops you.
I had 3 losses prior to my rainbow baby. So it may be you may have some struggles, but I always said if this is for me, God will make sure it happens.
Georgia has one of the highest maternal death rates in the country, prompting state leaders to launch a program that provides care for women even after they give birth, and it's showing a lot of promise.
It was like so scary, and I had no idea that it could have been a fatal situation.
What was supposed to be a beautiful welcome home for Tay Renee and her 3rd baby girl Eden quickly turned into a mission to save her life.
And I just felt a little off. So something told me to check my blood pressure, and it was through the roof.
Tay was readmitted to the hospital.
Turns out that I have postpartum preeclampsia.
I was very scared for myself, for my daughter, and I honestly did not know if it was something I would be able to live through.
Tragically, many mothers don't. Georgia's latest maternal mortality rate data shows from 2018 to 2020, there were 113 pregnancy-related deaths in our state. 101 were preventable, according to the Georgia Department of Health. Black women in Georgia are more than twice as likely to die from complications as white women. It's why state leaders introduced the Perinatal Home Visiting Pilot Program in 2023. Through the program, registered nurses and community health workers administered in-home care to women before and after birth, primarily in underserved rural areas.
So what does a home visit look like? What services are offered?
Pregnant women receive weight checks and blood pressure checks. They'll get glucose checks if that's indicated. They'll have a mental health screen, fetal heart monitoring.
In January, Governor Brian Kemp announced another $3 million in funding to expand the program, bringing the total reach to 75 counties.
My administration has worked alongside our partners in the General Assembly over the last few years to strengthen the care we provide to new mothers.
Now the goal is to let women know this is available.
We are working on our relationships with OBs at the local level, just getting the word out about the program so that they can identify high-risk patients that they can refer to the program.
There are no income nor insurance requirements. As long as healthcare workers can manage the in-home caseload, they'll be there, a service Tay wishes she'd had.
I think it's imperative. I think it's very important. I think that it should definitely be prioritized and it should happen as soon as possible because we aren't educated enough in the hospitals to know what to do when we get home.
In Atlanta, the gap between struggling and stable can be just a few $100s a month. A program called In Her Hands promises to help women bridge that divide. Let's take a closer look.
As the cost of living keeps climbing, one Atlanta mom says a little extra cushion made all the difference.
It helped me through cosmetology school to be able to get my license, to be able to provide more services, to provide more means for my family.
Brittany Harrod is a full-time hairstylist, a mother, and a determined entrepreneur in College Park. Like many women, she says she was doing all she could, but still falling short. That's where the Georgia Resilience Opportunity Fund's In Her Hands program stepped in.
650 women across 3 communities in Georgia received a 2-year guaranteed income, meaning no strings attached income support. The women in our program on average have 1 to 2 children and make about $14,000 a year. So they are facing pretty significant economic strain.
Brittany was part of that first cohort and says with that support, she's growing her career.
I'm able to provide more services, which brings more funds into my home. It allowed me to be able to grow and elevate my business and make it more of a business rather than just something that I was able to do on the side.
And showing her daughters what's possible.
What does that mean to you as a mom?
It means everything to me as a mom. It shows her that we can persevere through a lot, that we can be entrepreneurs. We're not limited to what we can do.
There are people out there who say, who gets a handout? Why don't these people just go to work or get an education to make more money? What do you say to people who have that viewpoint on a program like this?
What I say is that most people are working. And when we think about a lot of people in our communities, many folks are actually working sometimes 2-3 jobs, very entrepreneurial, sometimes have that side hustle. They're really trying to make it work. But unfortunately, it oftentimes just simply doesn't add up.
Grow Fund founder Hope Wallensack says she started the organization to show big change like Brittany's can start with bold ideas.
We have tried incremental change for a long time. We should be willing to explore every solution to ensure that our neighbors can meet their basic needs and even thrive and access opportunity.
As Brittany takes her financial future into her own hands, she's not looking back.
It helped me elevate from where I was to where I am now, and I plan to continue to grow.
The In Her Hands program is funded through generous donors. A second round of that program is now underway, this time including moms from the West Side. It's helping 275 women by giving them $1,000 a month for the next 3 years. For more stories like these, head to the news section of 11 Alive Plus and look for the Closer Look carousel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.